Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is it. This is the big one.
It actually is.
It's Anfield. It's Liverpool away. Manchester United in the Premier League. This preview is brought to you by Betmate, the home of social betting, the fantasy football app. We'll be getting into that a little bit later on. Joining me, as always, is my good friend Joe Smith. Joe, I'm nervous, you know. I'm excited. I'm confident, but I'm nervous because Liverpool away, it's one of those ones when the fixtures come out, the first thing I do is I look for when have we got the Scousers. You know, that's the main game for me. We obviously beat them at Old Trafford. We've got to go to Anfield. If we win, and it's a big if, I'll give you that. If we win, you've got to feel like the form we're in, the points, and then to go and win Anfield, do we start talking properly about title challenges?
The current form we're in is, I think, the best form we've been in since Sir Alex, I think. Because I know we won all those games under Solskjaer and that was amazing, but first of all, this form is longer than that. I know it's not quite as emphatic, what was that, 11 wins out of 13 games or whatever. It's not quite that sensational, but it's not far off. And this form has also included a trophy, which Solskjaer never won, unfortunately, even though I think he deserved one. We never saw this sort of form, I don't think, under Jose or Louis, the two managers we have won trophies under. For this extended period of time, our home form, I know this is an away game, but just talking generally, our home form is sensational. We've won 14 of the last 16 home games, which is unbelievable. We've won a trophy, like I said, in that time. We're now within touching distance of Man City, who are 6 points ahead of us, but we've played a game less than them. If we beat Liverpool, you can't not talk about some sort of title charge or a title race or whatever. Again, I expect it to not amount to winning the league, but let's not pretend that 6 points or 3 points behind a Man City team who are currently, I think, level favourites with Arsenal, that we're not out of it. You just can't say we are. And I think Liverpool would be such a massive win. I can't remember the last time we beat Liverpool home and away as well. So it would be undoubtedly, with the form that we're in, what we've seen so far this season, if we can stay injury free, this would be a massive sort of springboard, I think, to really pushing toward the end of the season. It's a huge game, and we can't really deny that we're in with a shout at the title. Surely.
No, because I think there's always been a little bit of kidology when it comes to this title race and 21 is coming and all that other stuff. We've all sort of done it with a little bit of a nod and a wink and a smirk on our faces. But like you said there, the form we're in, so if we go to Anfield and get a result and get a win, not a draw, but a win, then you have to start looking at it and going, listen, City and Arsenal got to play each other. They've not ran away with it. And also, those two teams have dropped points. I know they're in good form, but they're not unbeatable. We aren't seeing two teams who have done what City and the Scousers have done in the past, where they've gone on these 25-game winning runs. They've both been sort of, slightly fallible. So
if we'd have not lost either of those games if we'd have won one of those games or both those games against Brighton and Brentford at the start of the season, we'd be above City now. So it's not as though they've literally we've drawn the same amount of games and we've lost one more than them. It's not like they're miles ahead or like we're sort of pretending to be near there or thereabouts. If it wasn't for last season's form somehow being dragged into this season at the start, which maybe we needed, and you can't rewrite history, but what I mean is we're only a disastrous start away from being above City. So it really has been like wafer thin margins up until now.
It has, and also United are the team that are better than we were at the beginning of the season. I'd argue that Arsenal were better at the beginning of the season than they probably are now. City have pretty much stayed at the same level, whereas if you look at players like Marcus Rashford, for example, Casemiro wasn't a United player at the beginning of the season. Lisandro Martinez, players like that. Luke Shaw's improved. We've got players, Alejandro Garnacho, who didn't feature at the beginning of the season. We've got players who are performing much better, or are actually here, when they weren't at the beginning of the season. So there's lots of reasons to feel cautiously optimistic as a Manchester United fan, shall we say, right now. And as you've mentioned, you've got that bit of silverware, which gives you that little bit of swagger, doesn't it, when you've already won something this season, which Manchester United obviously did in the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle. Now, there is a little bit of an edge to this. There's always an edge to this game. This is for me, it's not only the biggest game of the season, it's also one of the nastiest ones. This isn't a friendly rivalry. We hate each other. And there's an extra reason to hate Liverpool this season, because they did the double over us last season emphatically. They obviously beat us 5-0 at Old Trafford. We've sort of rectified that one in the home game. They beat us 4-0 away at Anfield, where the only sort of positive from that game was the fact that young Hannibal came on Hannibal Medjugorje and started kicking everyone.
Yeah.
It was just horrible. It really was.
For me, this is the best rivalry in the Premier League by a mile.
Easily.
Like, there's no... First of all, it's the only one that has two teams that are actually good.
Yeah.
And obviously United versus City, but that's like almost like a secondary thing to most United fans. I think that most United fans see Liverpool as a more sort of dislikable, bigger rivalry.
If you look at City... You know, like there is a rivalry with City, there's a derby rivalry, but there's also been 20 years of this period when City weren't even in the conversation. Yeah. Sometimes weren't even in our league. Sometimes we weren't even in the league below us. There were two divisions below us.
City and Liverpool are United and Liverpool are the two biggest teams in England, without question in terms of what they've won. It's also a bit nasty as well.
Of course it is. Like, there's arrests all over the gaff when United play Liverpool. I'm not encouraging that, and that's not. I don't like that sort of thing. I don't think we need it. We're big enough rivals without smashing each other's heads in.
But you look at
there is that edge.
You look at the other rivalry: Arsenal, Tottenham. Tottenham win fuck all. There's no rivalry there really.
Pathetic.
It's a bit boring as well. Isn't it? Kane scores a penalty, but Arsenal win anyway. Like boring rivalry. You look at some of the others. I mean, Chelsea, Fulham, give me a break.
That's not even a thing, is it?
So, yeah, I'm not particularly enamoured by that one. But, yeah, it's the biggest one. We haven't won at Anfield in seemingly a long time. Certainly we haven't done the double over them in a long time. And for me, it would just be so massive. It would send so many signals as a team for Ten Hag to come in his first season and do that. Because even under Solskjaer, when we'd regularly beat City, we'd regularly beat Chelsea, we'd beat this, but Liverpool away always felt like one where you're like, I just don't see how we're going to do this. So for me, I'd absolutely love it.
My favourite performance by Manchester United post Alex Ferguson was Wanfield.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the most underrated performances by Manchester United ever.
Yeah, we were brilliant.
It's the most flattering 2-1 to Liverpool you can imagine. Because we dominated that game. And, we missed a penalty in the last minute, which should have made it 3-1. I mean, it was never a contest. Louis van Gaal got that absolutely right. Yeah. But, if we get a result, like you've said, it means something. Not just in terms of the table, but it's one of those where beating Liverpool, there's no feeling like it in the Premier League. Even more so than winning the Manchester derby. It just hits you differently.
I watched Wanfield in a pub in Wakefield, having gone go-karting for my mate's birthday just before.
Do you know what?
Brilliant day.
I'm ashamed to say, I had a ticket for that, and we were just about. My missus was pregnant, I think, with my son, and we were skint, and it was like it's going to be an all-day job with her. So I ended up letting someone have it when I watched it at home.
You know what?
That's a sacrifice
Good on you,
that
Jay.
I was willing to make, even though I was fuming
Respect.
when I thought I missed out on the opportunity to be there for Wanfield. Right, let's talk about predicted 11s because, like we said, we mentioned the importance of this game. United are absolutely flying. Liverpool have got their act together a little bit. Who do you think Erik ten Hag is going to pick for this game?
It's all out, full strength. Here we go.
Full strength 11.
Bastards. Yeah,
that's a debate now. What is the full strength? Talk us through it.
My idea of what I think Ten Hag's version of full strength is.
I like the way you've worded that.
Is De Gea. Wan-Bissaka tends to pick him in the big games where he thinks he might have a sort of one-on-one challenge. I've gone Wan-Bissaka, Varane and Martinez, assuming Varane's fit, which I think he is. Seemed to get rested the other night. And then Luke Shaw. Again, that's the only one that's sort of touch and go fitness-wise. But I expect him to be back. I don't know why, but I just do. Then a midfield three. I want to see Sabitzer eventually, but Sabitzer and Casemiro have still never started a game together, and I don't expect him to test that out at Anfield. So I'll go Fred and Casemiro. Then Fernandes obviously has to play. Then Antony, Weghorst and Rashford. I know we've seen this sort of Weghorst in the 10, Fernandes on the right thing, but I think now Antony's back, we've seen that Ten Hag tends to prefer Antony to anyone else on that right-hand side, which means that Rashford has to play on the left, which I think is where he's best anyway, and Weghorst up front, who is just... I think I'd like to give some more praise to Weghorst. I thought he was brilliant the other night against West Ham. He doesn't score goals, and it's almost sort of counterintuitive, especially when playing Liverpool, and you talk about someone like Firmino, who for years I would mock and ridicule for being a defensive striker. But I think Weghorst does so much off the ball. He improves our team so much by being in there, even without scoring. He was crucial for 2 of the 3 goals the other night and didn't get an assist or a goal. Or maybe he got an assist for Fred's goal, but I'm not even sure he did. That is a player that is doing a lot. He was brilliant against Barcelona, home and away, or certainly away. He was brilliant in the cup final, got an assist there. Like, he's just doing a lot of good things for someone that has got obvious weaknesses. I think he's really excelling at the minute. So I think that's probably our best team, and I think that's what we'll go for.
I like to see Weghorst is someone who's revelling playing for Manchester United. He went down a tunnel against West Ham at the end of the game. I think he'd given his shirt to someone and he was giving it all out to the crowd as he going there. He's loving life at Old Trafford and we're loving having him. So you can forgive him for not scoring goals because he's contributing to wins. No, I like that team. If you go to mine, very similar. I've got Weghorst in the 10. I think he can play in that role and he can play well. We saw it at Ellen Road in particular in that second half where he was outstanding. I was debating
Fred
this.
or Sabitzer.
No, I know that is controversial. I just wonder, because Sabitzer played quite a lot the other day against West Ham. Fred, I do like Fred. He's having a very good spell. I read somewhere that he scored as many goals since November as Chelsea have. I don't know if that's true. It sounds about right, because they've only scored about 6 goals, and I think he scored something similar. I just wonder whether he might go with sort of Bruno as an 8, Casemiro in front of the defence, and play Weghorst in a 10. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Fred also bits of play, because they're obviously both very good players. I've put Garnacho in just because he got man of the match. Maybe keep this momentum going while he's playing really well. Maybe. The reason I think Garnacho might get a nod is because I think Garnacho and Anthony are going to run at the Liverpool defenders. I think they're going to wind the crowd up. I think they're going to buy some fouls, and we've actually started converting free kicks and set pieces. And I think that could play into our hands. So I'm on the fence with a lot of these decisions, but this is what I've gone through for as a predicted 11. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Let us know what you think. I'm right, Joe's right, or you've got your own preferred 11, or you think it's going to be different with what Erik ten Hag is going to go with. Now, Liverpool. They had a pretty woeful start this season to the campaign, helped in no end by the defeat by us at Old Trafford. They haven't really got going, have they?
No.
Although recently, the form has improved. There's still question marks there, and I don't think anyone could claim this is a vintage Liverpool season by any stretch of the imagination. But they've been keeping clean sheets in the league at least and getting some results. They obviously won midweek against Wolves. If you are going to go up against Liverpool and keep them quiet, one player who's kind of silenced a lot of critics recently has been Darwin Núñez, hasn't he? Because when he came in, he was getting a lot of stick. He looked a bit clumsy, missing a lot of chances. He has improved. He's not set the world alight, but he is becoming a handful.
He's I imagine he's a horrible player to play against. Because he's big and strong, but he's fast as fuck. Like he'll get past you if you're not careful. Like I'm a bit worried about him, to be honest. I think, like I said earlier on in the season, as much as I think they overpaid for him, and I still think they did, I'm not going to rate a player transfer 18 games into a season.
No.
Like people were slagging off Martinez after 3. Too soon. Too soon to rate Anthony. Too soon to I think we're getting to a point now where you can start to make conclusions, especially if they're brilliant, like Casemiro or Martinez has been. But I think that talk about Núñez was kind of hyped up a little bit, and fair enough because of the fee. But I think he's actually had a decent season, if not a sort of wasteful one. But I think he'll be dangerous on Sunday, definitely.
No, he is a good player. We know that. We knew that from when he was at Benfica. He scores goals, he causes problems, and like you say, even though we do like to revel in it when a rival signs someone and they don't hit the ground running, I think there's always that sort of worry that he'll get his act together.
Just on Liverpool's form, I know the last 5 games have been better, but since the 2nd of January, these aren't all the results, but these are a selection of their results. They've conceded 3 and lost to Brentford, lost 3-0 to Brighton, drawn with Wolves, drawn with Chelsea, lost 3-0 to Wolves after that, then lost again to Brighton, then lost 5-2 to Real Madrid. So, yes, their last few games have been a bit better, but this is still a massively sort of fragile and worried Liverpool team, and hopefully we can get out there, get an early goal, because I think this could be one of those sort of, swinging doors moments for Liverpool where if they get this right, this could be bang, top 4's on. And if we beat them, it can be see you later for top 4 and let's start looking at a title race. It's a huge, huge game, this.
No, it is, and I agree with what you say there about an early goal, because this whole myth about that famous Anfield atmosphere, it's just utter nonsense. And especially if you get an early goal, you'll watch that crowd turn quicker than Anthony running down the wing. Let's talk about Betmate, because this preview is brought to you by Betmate. Tell us a little bit about Betmate, my friend.
Well, they're the home of social betting, which is, plain to see. They've also recently bought their new game, the FT Result, It's a social twist on the accumulator. Okay. So you pick win, draw, win, whatever, from the fixtures in the pot, and if you get them right, you get up the leaderboard.
This is what you want to do. You want to get up that leaderboard.
Now, right up that leaderboard.
Now, of course, as anyone who watches
Stick it up your leaderboard.
Stick it up your leaderboard. Sideways. Anyone who watches these previews will know Betmate is famous for their fantasy football app. We all take part in that. You've won quite a few quid on there,
I've won quite a few times.
Yeah, which is a bit annoying. I've won some money, but not quite as much as you. McCall has won money as well. If people like me and him and McCall winning money, then you fancy your chances. Now, on the fantasy football side of things, they've got a £5 entry pot this weekend where you can win a share of £500. £600. Sorry, I'm doing a disservice. A share of £600. Use the code Paddock10, and there's a link in the description, and you can have £10 for free in bets when you sign up to one of the paid pots, to that paid pot for the £5. Let's talk about your Betmate team. Show us your Betmate team.
So here's my Betmate team. De Gea, you've got to go with De Gea, because if you think United are going to win, you can't put the other goalie in, because he's probably going to get less points.
It's 7 aside, but it's 6 from one team, 6 from the other.
So we're going De Gea, Shaw, Martinez. I think my only worry is I'm not certain. I don't think either our right backs are going to get a goal. Varane doesn't really score. I know Martinez doesn't either, but I think he's got a better chance. Then Casemiro, I put him as captain. I think it's going under the radar just how much of a goal threat he is at the moment.
He's getting his goals, doesn't he?
Like he scored 2. Who was it against in the FA Cup that he scored 2 against? I can't remember anyway. The other week he scored 2 goals.
Well, he scored in the Carabao Cup final.
Then he scored in the Carabao Cup final. Then he had a goal disallowed against West Ham, but again, getting on the end of headers. Then he won another header about 2 minutes later that was straight at the goalkeeper, but he's an absolute menace from set pieces, and I think that might be a good avenue for United to get goals. So I put him as captain. Rashford up front as well. Still, I think he's got a bit of a knock, so I'm not putting my faith in him for the captaincy, but obviously in the team, and you've got to put Salah in, because somehow he's got 20 goals this season.
No, he has my team. We go to my team. It's
Let me just have a look at your team.
Not that dissimilar. Sorry, it's 6 from one team, 5 of the other.
Oh, is that your team, Jake?
Yeah.
Good luck, mate.
Nunez has got a bit of a question mark whether he's going to be fit. I think he'll be fit. I've gone Casemiro as vice
laughing
captain.
at it like it's not almost exactly the same as my
team. I know, but I agree. He has been getting in the amongst the goals, and also you get points as well for things like tackles and interceptions with Betmate, and the power by up to stats, so you know they're on the ball. And Casemiro does love a good tackle and an interception, so that's our Betmate team. It was Reading was the team who got the brace.
I knew it was some stripy bastards.
Yeah, he got goals against those stripy bastards. Reading. Right. Yeah. Big thanks to Betmate for sponsoring this preview. With all that we've discussed and everything that's been said, bit of revenge, titles, players, goals, all that jazz, give us your score prediction.
It's got to be like the cup final where we had. Well, I know in the end we had a couple more chances when they were going for it, but we had in the first 70 minutes we had 2 chances or 3 chances and scored 2 goals. Yeah, we have to do that again. Yeah, if it's a wasteful day, we'll lose. Right, because Liverpool are so shit and we're so good that like the universe just sort of intervenes and gives them the win. So I think it could be anything. I'm going to go 2-1 United. No, I'm going to go 1-0 United.
1-0 United,
but. If it's 3-0 Liverpool, I'm not going to be shocked. But I'll go with 1-0 United. But we have to take our chances.
Okay.
What are you saying?
I'm going to go 3-0 United.
Fucking hell.
Hey. Yeah. I think their heads will fall off. I wouldn't even be surprised if they end up getting a red card as well at some point.
Imagine it's 4-0 or 5-0 like it was at Old Trafford last year.
What, for us? Yeah. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty. I think I'll end up getting chucked off Twitter. Yeah. Because of the amount of memes I'll be making and the sort of the revenge that I'll be displaying. Get your phone out for us if you've got it. What we want you guys to do is get involved, film yourself, 30 seconds, score prediction, send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com and we'll use that as part of our pre-match build-up. Myself and Joe and we'll be here for the watch along.
Me and him, that's the main one.
That's the main thing. Don't worry about who else is there. Yeah. So make sure you join us for that. Don't forget as well to check out Betmate. There's a link in the description using the code Paddock10. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 and on the Sloppy Joe's podcast.
Sloppy Joe's podcast. You know where to find me, Jay Motty. This has been the big one, the Liverpool preview. That's been Joe. I've been Jay. Thanks for watching.